All right, let's talk about something that can happen to anyone. You ever wonder how a simple, everyday argument can suddenly spiral into a serious criminal charge? Well, today, we're diving deep into California's simple battery law. That's Penal Code 242. We're going to cover what it actually is, what happens after an arrest, and trust me, the legal definition, it's probably not what you think.
Yeah, it's a really important question, right? Because this stuff can happen in the blink of an eye. A situation gets heated, maybe voices are raised, someone calls the cops, and next thing you know, someone's in handcuffs. So, really, how does a normal day, a normal conflict, just blow up into this massive legal problem? It almost always starts small, in the most normal places you can imagine. Like the slide says, a heated argument up at a ski resort in Tahoe, a shove in a super crowded bar, a dispute over a parking spot. These are the exact kinds of situations that can go from 0 to 100 and cross a legal line. And here's the key thing, even if nobody actually throws a punch.
Okay, so that brings us to the real heart of the matter. What is battery, legally speaking? Is it just a simple shove? Well, like I said before, you're about to see that the official definition here in California is way broader than most people think. So here you have it, straight from the California Penal Code. Battery is defined as any willful and unlawful use of force or violence upon another person. Now, on the surface, that sounds pretty straightforward, right? But the devil is totally in the details, specifically in how the law interprets those words, force or violence. And this is the part that catches so many people off guard. That key phrase, force or violence, doesn't mean what you think it means. In California, it doesn't have to cause pain or injury at all. It can literally just be a minor or offensive touch. As long as it was on purpose and you weren't supposed to do it, it can count. And that, right there, is why this law is so incredibly broad. All right, so let's break this down even more. To really get a handle on PC 242, we've got to understand what it is, and maybe even more importantly, what it isn't. People mix up assault and battery all the time. They use the words interchangeably, but legally, they're different. So here's the easiest way to think about it. Assault is the attempt to hit someone. It's swinging a punch that misses. Battery is when you actually make contact. So assault is the threat or the swing. Battery is the hit. And wow, this list really shows you what I mean by broad. We're not just talking about punching someone in the face. Look at this. Shoving or grabbing someone. Yep, that can be battery. Slapping someone's hand away, it sounds minor, but legally it can count. Spitting on someone or even throwing a drink on them, that's considered battery. It all comes down to that one core idea, any intentional, unwanted physical contact. Okay, so let's shift gears a little. Let's say an arrest does happen. It's a confusing, super stressful time for anyone. So what happens next? Let's walk through that whole post-arrest process step by step. So it usually happens in 3 main stages. First up is booking. That's when you're taken to jail, they take your fingerprints, your photo, and officially enter you into the system. Next, they set bail. This is based on a county schedule, or in some cases, a judge might decide to release you on what's called your own recognizance, basically a promise to show up for court. And then finally, you have the arraignment. That's your very first appearance in court where they formally read the charges against you. Now, a PC 242 charge is usually a misdemeanor, but please, do not let that word misdemeanor fool you into thinking it's no big deal. The potential penalties can absolutely have a huge impact on your life. If you're convicted, you're looking at a whole range of consequences. For starters, there's potential jail time, up to several months, plus fines and probation. But wait, there's more. On top of all that, a judge can order you to take anger management classes, do community service, issue a protective order, and even make you pay restitution, which means paying for any damages the other person had. And this is a point that I really want to drive home. Even if you don't spend a single day in jail, the process itself is a massive disruption. I mean, think about it. Juggling court dates, trying to follow strict release conditions, all while dealing with the insane amount of stress. It can seriously mess with your job, your family, your entire life. Okay, so if you find yourself in this situation, facing a battery charge, what can you actually do about it? Let's talk about some common defenses and, more importantly, the immediate practical steps you might want to think about. Now, first things first, and this is super important, you absolutely need to talk to an attorney. This is not legal advice. But it's good to understand what some common defenses look like. For example, maybe you were defending yourself or someone else. Or maybe the contact was a complete accident. It wasn't willful. Think about it. Bumping into someone at a concert is an accident. Intentionally shoving them to get a better view, that's willful. There could also just be a total lack of credible evidence. Or maybe the other person is exaggerating. These are all the kinds of things a good lawyer is going to dig into.
And while you're doing that, here are 5 practical things to focus on right away. Number 1, stay as calm as you can and try to avoid making unnecessary statements. Number 2, and this is absolutely critical, do not contact the other person involved. Seriously. Number 3, write everything down, every single thing you can remember while it's still fresh. 4, gather any evidence you might have, texts, pictures, videos, names of witnesses. And finally, number 5, take care of the bail situation as quickly and responsibly as you can. That's your ticket to getting back to work and starting to prepare your defense. Which really brings us full circle, back to this final question. The charge is called simple battery, but after everything we've just talked about, from how broad the definition is to the whole messy post-arrest process and the serious penalties you could face, is the path forward ever really simple?